Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss the 2017 version of Beauty and the Beast, starring Emma Watson, Dan Stevens, Luke Evans, Kevin Kline, Josh Gad, Ewan McGregor, Stanley Tucci, Audra McDonald, Gugu Mbatha Raw, and Hattie Marahan, directed by Bill Condon. Now, before I get into this review, two things. One, I didn't do the Enchanted Christmas or the 90s TV show or the other kind of stories that they've put around. I'm here to do the original from the 1990s, which I did last time in this remake. And I haven't done that video sequel, Enchanted Christmas, because it's not Christmas time yet. Maybe I'll do that this year, I'm not sure. And I do remember going to theaters for this, and I reviewed it before with my good friend Joshua Oro from the Mustang Prince Oro Reports. And what did I think of it then? You could probably see that video when I posted on the bottom, the bottom of my show, the bottom on the comments section, so that you could see how I thought about it then. But for now, is it going to be the same as I remember? Let's get into it and we'll find out. We get the same opener as the animated film, but narrated by Emma Thompson, who is in this movie, and I'll talk about who she is later in the show. But we see a prince of other beautiful people at a party, and then a witch comes in and offers him a rose, which will curse him as she becomes beautiful, and the prince becomes a beast and turns the house into a curse, which did take about 5 minutes, whereas in the animated film it took like at least 2 minutes, which is perfect. And that's going to be my problem throughout this movie, is the pacing. We get to the morning in a little town as we get introduced to Belle, played by Emma Watson from the Harry Potter films, walking to the library, and they sing about how strange Belle is. And the problem I'm having with this is I'm having is when I was at Disneyland watching a promo when this movie was coming out, as Emma Watson sings the song, I thought, uh-oh, this is this not going to be the princess I want in the character? Because she's a princess by the end of the movie, as far as I'm convinced. And if you're going to make this movie again, make the cast a little younger, at around, I don't know, the same age as Emma Watson. And here's why. While the song is going, we get introduced to Gaston, played by Luke Evans, and LeFou, played by Josh Gad. And I'm thinking Luke Evans is miscast as Gaston, in my opinion. But LeFou is the best part of the movie, as he was comedic, and Gaston is falling in love with Belle seemed kind of creepy, as he was born in 1979 compared to Emma Watson, who was born in 1990. As it just freaks me out in the beginning. Belle's father, Maurice, played by Kevin Kline, is the inventor like in the animated film, but does a good job in this role, as I've seen him in movies I can't remember him in for at least 10 to 15 years, as when he goes off to the invention fair, Belle asks for a rose, and she sees on a painting while Gaston wants to marry Belle, as she's not ready for marriage, as he tries to force her to marry him. And these scenes with Belle and Gaston are just awkward and creepy, as she just wants adventure and people to read and have an imagination of their own, as people want their children to be rather mean about how Belle is in general. Maurice gets attacked on his horse by some wolves that look absolutely fake, but here's a compliment I'll give this movie. I do really like the costume designing, as it makes the characters look good. Maurice arrives at the castle where he's encountered by the Beast, played this time by Dan Stevens, who puts him in a cage, as he's not welcome in the castle. But he is welcomed by, he's not welcomed by Cogsworth, played by Ian McKellen, but he's welcomed by Lumiere, played by Ewan McGregor, Chip, who's a teacup, as Maurice leaves and tries to grab a rose for Belle that's white, as the Beast captures him and, like I said, puts him in a cage. The horse comes back and brings Belle to the castle, and the pacing in this scene takes too long, as this is a long movie at 2 hours and 10 minutes. Cut at least 30 minutes out, and we would have had a solid movie. Belle goes to the prison in the castle as the Beast shows up, and Belle takes place as a prisoner of the Beast, And Lumiere and Cogsworth put Belle in a bedroom, and this is taking too long. Come on, just edit some of this. When Belle enters her room with Lumiere and Cogsworth, she meets Plumette, played by Gugu Mbatha Raw, and Madame Gordrobe, played by Audra McDonald, as they dress Belle up for supper, and these characters don't get me excited except for Lumiere, as he's second best compared to LeFou. LeFou sings a song to make Gaston feel better, and the actor in the animated film does sing, or should I say the voice actor of the Gaston in that animated film does sing that song better than Luke Evans does in this movie, as it's more handsome than this version. Sorry, Luke Evans, I do like you as an actor, but I don't know how I feel about your Gaston. Maurice comes in and warns the town about the beast. As the town laughs at him along with Gaston, we get introduced to Mrs. Potts, played by Emma Thompson, as they make dinner for her and their master so they can break the curse in time, as he demands Belle to join him for dinner. And why is the editing off in this movie? Like, some things are going backwards, like the Gaston scene and the scene and the dinner scene where he demands, for example. The castle is tearing itself apart as Belle tries to escape and drinks tea before going on the road, as Mrs. Potts and Chip come in the room and they treat her to dinner behind the master's back, and Lumiere sings Be Our Guest, and this version is sung rather entertainingly, but not quite as good as the animated film at one point when Lumiere is up the top of the Aladdin castle, which was a nice callback to the fact that Disney is going to remake Aladdin, which they already did, which in my opinion is the second best of the Disney remakes, as I'll get to my very favorite at some point. Belle goes in the West Wing, and the Beast catches her looking at the cursed rose as she leaves the castle and gets in danger by some wolves, and the Beast saves her from the wolves, and again, that piece of CGI is pretty bad looking, but the movie looks impressive, but unfortunately it's not good enough compared to the original film. Maurice leads Gaston and LeFou to the castle of the Beast, and Gaston has had enough, as Gaston wants to marry Belle and tells her father while he's yelling at him, and punches Maurice after he says to Gaston, "Will never marry him, my daughter," and that's what he says, and I'm talking about Maurice, and that should be a scene that could be in the editing room, I'll say. Belle heals the Beast as he's injured from the wolf attack, and they again talk about what they have done. This, as Belle points out, he shouldn't lose his temper like in the animated film, as his servants explain why they serve him and how they were cursed, as we get a song that was in the Broadway play, but unfortunately isn't necessary for the film, as it's not the Broadway show. This is a movie. And that's another scene that could be in the editing room, as it's very problematic. And once again, this needs more editing, as we see Maurice wake up with something to drink with Agatha, as this is the point of the movie starts to fall apart. The Beast shows Belle the library after talking about Shakespeare and how Romeo and Juliet is Belle's favorite Shakespeare story. And I do enjoy the way they get to know each other that way, as their chemistry is much better than Belle and Gaston's chemistry, as it's more creepy, but with these scenes, I would say it's more appropriate. Belle makes up a location with her imagination, as she picked Paris, France, and that is another scene that could be in the editing room, because it makes no sense for this movie, as I would prefer the mystery of what happened to Belle's mother, as we know nothing about it, and the fact they showed it in this just bothered me. Maurice comes back to the bar where Gaston and LeFou go into, as he tells them they tried to kill Maurice, and Gaston and LeFou lie about it, and 3 people take him to an insane asylum, and again, I'm going to say editing room. The Beast gets cleaned up before dancing with Belle in the animated film's most famous scene, where they're in the dance room with Mrs. Potts singing Beauty and the Beast, as the animated version was gorgeous, and believe it or not, so is this scene. But is it I remembered as in the animated film? Honestly, I forgot what it looked like as the first time I've seen this since theaters and reviewed it with my friend, of course. Is the only thing I remember were the problems, and how long this scene and how long this takes. But I forgot the way they shot this scene was actually pretty good, but it's not as unforgettable as the animated film. I'll say that much. The Beast shows Belle her father from the magic mirror as he's getting beaten up and tortured by Gaston and the whole town, and tells Belle to go to him and frees her. And I did enjoy these scenes from the dance to that scene. And the Beast tells everyone he let her go. And we get another unnecessary song from the film, despite it was in the Broadway show. But that's needed to be cut out. Just come on. Just trim it down a bit. Maurice is about to go to the asylum as Gaston puts him in there, as he demands to give him his daughter's hand, and Belle comes in and proves to the whole town there is a beast, and she thinks Gaston is a monster, as he sends the whole town to kill the beast, as they want to come with Gaston to the castle along with LeFou. And as they arrive in the antiques hold the door from getting inside the castle, while Belle learns why Maurice couldn't let Belle say goodbye to her mother, as he was trying to protect her. And the castle's doors do eventually open as the town goes inside and the antiques attack everyone, while Gaston finds a way to the beast to fight him, as Belle goes to the castle to tell Gaston not to kill the beast, as LeFou betrays Gaston and helps out Mrs. Potts, which was earned, and every townspeople leaves the castle after getting their booties kicked. While Gaston and the Beast fight for Belle's love, and the Beast almost drops Gaston as he tells him to get out, and he does briefly, but shoots the Beast, and Gaston falls down to his death. And as the Beast dies, Belle says she loves him, and the antiques don't have a face and can't talk anymore. The witch hears Belle loves the Beast, and it turns him back to human, as the antiques do, as well as the Beast, before the last piece of roast falls down, and the curse ends, and everyone becomes human again, even the Beast, as he and Belle get married and have a happily ever after. And the climax is just like the original, but executed kind of badly. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. It's executed kind of poorly. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.8 out of 10. The movie does look good, as the costume design is pretty good, but unfortunately it's not enough for me to like this movie. Emma Watson and Luke Evans are miscast as Belle and Gaston, as Belle's singing was done kind of poorly, and Gaston doesn't have the handsome voice like the animated film did. But LeFou and Lemire are perfectly cast. The movie is 30 minutes too long, as it needs to be in the editing room to get at least 30 minutes of footage cut out. But I must say, Disney, nice try on remaking this movie, but after the countless amount of animated films getting a live-action remake, it really needs to stop, because they're never going to be as good as the original, with an exception of The Jungle Book and Aladdin. But other than that, enough remaking cartoons to live action, please. And I know there's going to be some kind of Gaston and LeFou spinoff on Disney Plus, and I'm not looking forward to that either. I don't even know if I'll watch it either after watching this movie. So I would like to thank you guys for joining me, and if they ever get a sequel out, tale as old as time.